Hello online crew, Helen here. Have you ever heard of anything called failure diseases? I've never heard of this concept before until recently, and I thought it was really intriguing. So I thought I would share it with you. So what I do every week is talk about something to do with personal growth, personal development, something to get you thinking, to help you be a better version of you. And so what I'm going to talk to you about is this concept of failure diseases and what it means, and give you think about, oh, am I back? I think I've got connection problems already. Not a good start, but hopefully I'm back. I'm not sure even if I could see comments. So if anybody is here, either leave me a comment or give me some likes and loves, and we'll see if I'm here. Oh, all this stuff just popped up, and I do have comments as well. Hello, Lee. Hello, Michelle. We do have people on. That was really random. It was like nothing, and then all this stuff popped up. Hello, Sean. How are you? Thank you for saying hello to Henry here. Hello, Monica. So as you're jumping in, we've got Lynn, and we've got palm trees and fishies and cruise ships coming in. Awesome, guys. Hey, Mel. So the palm tree is our mascot here for our online crew community. If you are in my free Facebook group, Social Media Strategies for Home Business Owners, that's the fish emoji. And if you're one of my online crew leaders in our online crew coaching community, you get to put the cruise ship down below. Hi, Edith. So let me know who you are, where you're from. Henry is my adopted mate. He is Sean, as well as my boys. They often ask me, where's Sean? What's Sean doing? Hey, Julie. These videos at the beginning of the week, so I go live 5 times a week, and these videos at the beginning of the week are meant to be really thought-provoking, because this is something that I say all the time, and it's true even for myself. I can learn a lot of skills. I can teach you guys a lot of skills with building a business online. But if you've got your own blocks, if you don't think you're good enough, if you're stuck in overwhelm or confusion, anything like that, you've got a lack of self-belief, you're going to self-sabotage even any success that you have. So it's really important that we look after you, and that you are in a really strong mental frame of mind to grow a successful business, because the skills don't matter if you don't got it going on. Did that make sense? Hey, Laurie. So I'll get onto that in a sec. I just wanted to give you a bit of an update as to what's happening this week. Hey, Judy and Bob, what are you saying there? I'm excited we go live notifications. So many. Oh, that's already gone. Sorry, I've missed it already. Hey, Teresa. Teresa, so to be clear, if we are in your coaching community, we get to put all 3. Yeah, put all 3 down. You can just put the cruise ship down below if you like, but majority of people will put the palm tree, the fish, and the cruise ship. So up to you. So I just wanted to give you a little quick update what's happening this week before I get onto the content. Those of you in my branding course, we are going live for a live Zoom call to sort out all your branding in less than an hour, and we have another one at the end of the week. So 2 live Zoom calls this week for those of you that are in my branding course. Tomorrow, we have a live Zoom Q&A call for those of you in my online crew coaching community. So whatever questions you've got about building your business online, whatever it is, turn up on that live Zoom call tomorrow. I am at your service to give you free coaching. Okay, and at the end of the week, so it'll be Thursday night for majority of you in US and Canada, early hours of UK on the Friday morning, Australia it'll be Friday morning. I'm interviewing Rose. So Rose was the winner of our recent video challenge. It's been a bit delayed because Rose had a passing in her family and naturally I just said, no, you attend to that first. But I'm really excited to interview Rose on Friday, and I'll also be announcing the winner of a free coaching call with me. For those of you that received a message from my bot last week, Henry is going to be my bot mate. So he sent out a message, and those of you that decided to stay are all into the running for a free coaching call with me to talk about your business and what you're up to and what you want to achieve. So I'll be telling you that on a Thursday night, Friday as well, depending on where you are sort of around the world. So let me get onto this content. There's 2 things here I want to sort of share with you. And what prompted this for me, and I read things and they're really thought-provoking for me and my business. And if it affects me, I think, I reckon you guys could learn from this as well. So I read, I was listening to Grant Cardone. Do you guys know who that is? Grant Cardone is just awesome in business, big on, if you're following someone, sort of a bit like a Tony Robbins, if you like, and gives great advice about just life and building a business and just all sorts of things to help you be successful in all areas of sort of your life. And he said in this interview that every time he's failed, every single time he's failed, and, let me put that in context. He said failure is necessary, as a lot of people, and I agree with that too. Like, we look at failure as a bad thing, but failure really is... I'll spell his name, please. So Grant with a G, G-A-R-N-T, Cardone with a C, C-A-R-D-O-N-E, Cardone, okay? We all need to see failure as just part of our learning curve. It's not that we've done terribly or that we're a failure. It just means it didn't work that well that time. What can you learn from it to be better? So failure really is necessary for us to become better and be more sort of successful, okay? So he was saying every time he's considered to have failed at something, it's because his thinking was small. And you think of somebody like Grant Cardone, who's earned multiple millions of dollars, is huge, followed by millions around the world. And he often says, I still think too small. Like, what's 20 million? Why not think 50 million? It's like, okay. I'm just thinking in the hundreds of thousands, let alone the millions or the billions. So he said every time he's failed, it's because his thinking is always too small. And that led me to... Have you guys ever read this book? I know it's going to be backwards. I could flip my screen, but you'll be able to get the gist. Have you guys got this book in your library? Is this a book that you've read before or know anything about? So, thanks, Lee. Lee's got a link down to Grant Cardone YouTube. Well done. So, do you know this book? Have you read this book? Have you heard anything about this book? Because if you don't, you should. Because you know why a lot of us don't succeed? Oh, and sorry, just not to presume you know who this is from. This is from David Schwartz. So let me get a little bit tricky with you here. And we'll go like this. Oh, doesn't want to play today. That's actually meant to flip my screen. And it's not working. Normally it does. Sorry, guys. That's meant to flip the screen so you can read the book the right way, but it doesn't want to play today. So no worries. I've got comments, but my filters won't play. So one of the reasons that we don't succeed is because we think way too small. We think way too small about ourselves. We think way too small about what we're working on, and we think way too small about our potential. So we get down in the weeds and we worry about crap we shouldn't worry about, and we get frustrated with little tiny things that consume us and get us into that state of overwhelm, when really if we focused on the bigger picture, this stuff wouldn't matter. Okay? So Grant Cardone's, and he went on for a while in this interview saying every time he's failed and hasn't achieved what he wanted to achieve is because he was thinking small. And he was saying, you've got to think big. You've got to think bigger than you ever would imagine. And this whole book is about thinking big, the magic of thinking big. The magic of thinking of your wildest dreams are actually possible. You know, we are our own worst enemies, guys, with our limitations. And we get stuck down in this weeds with silly little crap that really doesn't matter, but it actually stops us growing our business. It actually stops us having wonderful relationships because we're stewing on a silly little argument that we had last week. Like, when we worry about the little things, we're not exploring or allowing our life to blossom in our relationships, in our finances, in our business and stuff like that. So we get stuck in the detail. And we forget to look at the bigger picture of what you're working towards. And when we do that, we get overwhelmed and stuck, and we stop because it's, oh, Lee, you're on fire today. She's even put a link to the book. So there you go, guys. Thanks, Lee. So we get stuck in this really small thinking of not only what we, potentially, what am I trying to say? That's coming out the wrong way. We don't think big enough in what we can achieve. We don't think broad enough about anything, like lots of things to do with relationships and finances and things like that. So when you broaden your mind and you learn to think big, you open up your world to possibilities. So there's 5 things. There are so many things I could share with you about this book. I've read this a number of times and I might actually read it again because it expands your way of thinking. And we get stuck in our own little worlds, do we not? Do we get stuck in our own little heads? We've all got a little voice that throws in shitty little things to us that stops us from achieving great things because we're not thinking big enough. And when we're on a task and it's not working, those of you that are building a business online, those of you that are reaching out to people and somebody says no, those of you doing Facebook Lives, you don't get many views. We focus on these little things that supposedly are not working the way we want to work, whereas we're not looking big enough as to why we're doing the things that we are doing to achieve the bigger picture. Okay? So 5 things to think about that sort of come from this, and what led to my sort of title is 3 failure diseases. I hadn't looked at it that way or heard of it termed that way before, but that's number 5, and I'll get to that in a moment. So I'm just going to check my notes here. So number 1, life is too short to think little. Okay, life is too short to think little. We need to learn to think a lot bigger and a lot broader about not just business, all aspects of your life. So David actually goes in this book, personal property, finance, security, power and influence, the ideal job, satisfying relationships, a rewarding and enjoyable life. So he goes through the whole lot. This is not just a business book that I'm sharing with you. This is about your life. So great new way of thinking if that's not your sort of normal way of thinking. So 1, life is too short to think little. We've got to learn to think big. If you don't know how to think big, get a resource like this to help you explore that, okay? 2, this is from the book, thinking it's possible makes it so. This is nothing new, guys, but I want to read a quote from this, okay? Believe it can be done. When you believe something can be done, your mind will find ways for you to do it. So you would have heard of that before, but you actually have to believe it. So I know that there's, or let's believe I can be a millionaire, and we try to believe it, but you've got your little voice in the back of your head going, I'm never going to be a millionaire. So you've got affirmations written around everywhere going, I'm going to be a millionaire, but your little voice in your back of your head is going, you're never going to be a millionaire. So that's not the way to think. We actually truly want to believe what is possible for us, and anything is possible for you, but it is that magic of thinking big, and, don't put any limitations on yourself, because our own limitations are our own, guys. Your limitations on you in your life are your own. Generally, no one else puts those limitations on us. We just don't think we can. We don't think we're capable. We don't have enough self-belief. We, worry about what people are going to think about us. So it stops us doing things, okay? And that's because we're focusing on the wrong things. We're not focusing on the bigger picture. Okay, so believe it to be so, and your brain will find ways to make it happen. So it's really important to retrain the brain to think bigger and think the possibilities. Number 3, you got to ignore the haters. We've got this saying in the online world and in communities that I'm involved with, mentorship communities, that until you get a hater, you haven't made it. So when you annoy somebody on social media, when somebody jumps on a Facebook Lives and gives you crap, when you get an awful comment on, those of you doing Facebook ads, you get somebody unsubscribed from an email, you get somebody that replies to an email if you're doing email marketing or anything like that and says something nasty. For one, it's got nothing to do with you. Absolutely nothing to do with you, what other people's opinions are. It's their opinions and not yours. You know who you are, what you're striving for, what you want to achieve, and it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what anybody else thinks of you, because it's their opinion, not yours, okay? So stick to your guns, ignore the haters, they don't matter. People that unsubscribe or tell you you're no good or whatever, they're just not your tribe, guys. They're not your followers. They're not the people that support you in life. They don't matter. It is impossible to please everybody in this world. It is impossible to be friends with everybody. There are some people that you will connect with and some people you won't. There are some people that will love watching my videos. There will some people look at me and go, who is that idiot with that hat on? And just won't connect with me at all. It's the same for you and you're following online. Your vibe will attract your tribe. There is enough people out there in social media for you to attract, a beautiful tribe, community to you, depending on how you brand yourself, what you talk about, your personality, all the rest of it. There's enough people in the world for all of us to have a glowing, thriving community tribe of people that support us, okay? So ignore the haters. They are small-minded people with problems who get pleasure out of putting other people down, okay? There are people that are rife with jealousy, and their way to cope with that is to put somebody else down because it makes them feel better. Maybe you're on a diet and you're trying to do the right thing and you've got a friend that's, they're worried that you're going to look thin and beautiful. So they get the ice cream out and they're shoving a bowl in front of you because it makes them feel better for having the ice cream. Okay. Or they want to self-sabotage you because they're threatened. That kind of shit goes on all the time in all areas of life. People are just people. People are weird. Why people don't celebrate each other more, I don't know, or lift each other up. But just ignore all of that, guys. I know it's hard. I have people that unsubscribe from my email list, and I had lots of people unsubscribe from my bot, and I'm like, yay, you're not my tribe, so do me a favor and self get off. That makes sense. Lee, you're not an idiot, Helen. Did you make me laugh? Everything you say, 100%. Did I say I was an idiot? I probably did. Thank you, Lee. Okay, number 4, one step at a time. People are looking way too far ahead as to what they want, and they got no idea how to get there. So when you don't get there, you feel there's no point. You feel like you've failed, but you didn't map out the path to get there in the first place. Do you remember what I said to you last week about driving in a car and getting A to B, and you actually need directions to get there or you'll end up nowhere near there? So progress is progress. That's all you need to do. Do something more than you did yesterday. Grow and be a better person today than you were yesterday. Do one more Facebook Live. It's one more Facebook Live than you've ever done before in your life. Progress is progress, and that's really important to break down while we're thinking big, which is what we want to learn to do. We can't focus on that. We need to focus on the steps to get to that. Okay? When we don't, you just set yourself up for failure. One step at a time. Map it out, recognize it, pat yourself on the back. This helps amazingly for overwhelm. When people have got too much training, they've taken on something huge and like, I don't know, I can't ever see the end. Break it down, chunk it down, one step at a time. Okay? And I've got 6. Can I not count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it's 6. Number 5. It's in the book. Being average is your enemy. Being complacent is your enemy. So being average, most people are average. Most people don't strive for the things that they really, really want. They might want them, but they don't work towards them. Most people are sitting in average. Don't be average, guys. Average is your enemy. So what Grant Cardone is saying, somebody as big as he is saying every time he's failed is because he didn't think big enough. So just think wild. think amazing things. Well, get the book to help you through that process, okay? I don't get any money out of this. Like, don't get any wrong impressions there. This is something that I just think can help you, okay? And the last one is what I had in the title. I've never heard of failure diseases. Do you want to know what they are? What do you reckon the three biggest, if we are going to use the word failure, in context though, guys, I hope you know what I mean by that, but three of the biggest things that stops people achieving what they want to achieve. And it's certainly not thinking big, it's actually completely the opposite. So let me share with you what those three things are, and you may be able to relate to one, if not all. Procrastination is a failure disease. When you procrastinate, you know what you should be doing, but you're not doing it, and you're doing everything else but. Oh, that's a good one, Edith. And I would add that in, but it's not one of the actual three that I'm listing here, but I couldn't agree with you more there, Edith. Edith said fear. So procrastination. And usually these three come from fear, actually. So it does sort of weave in there. So procrastination. I'm sure there's many of you that know there are things that you should be doing and you're not doing them because of one reason or another. So procrastination is a failure disease. The second one is what they call excuse-itis. You can justify anything with your excuses, and people literally do. I was too busy, I didn't have enough money, something got in the way, this was a more priority. You can justify anything with your excuses, guys. But at the end of the day, if you're not achieving what you want to achieve, you're just not prioritizing the things that you want most. So don't use your excuses to justify what you know you're not doing, because it only holds you back. So that's a huge one. People don't even realize they're doing it. They just make it. I hear it from students all the time. I got busy. I ran out of time. Blah, 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 blah. The kids, the that, whatever. You know, we've all got busy lives. I get it. But it just means the business is not important enough to you. It's just not. Otherwise, you would prioritize that. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. So what's the reason that some people are majorly successful and some people are not? It's because they don't let their excuses get in the way, and they just get the job done, even when they don't feel like it. Just the excuses don't come in. They just push themselves. People who are really successful think big and push themselves, even when they don't feel like it. Okay. And the last one is me, a recovering me, which is called detail-itis. How many of you out there are perfectionists? How many of you fuss over the detail? And unless it's perfect, you don't want to do it. Or some of you might still be resisting Facebook Live because you don't think you look good enough, or you don't know exactly what you're going to talk about, or, you're just too afraid to push the live button, or, put yourselves in scary positions, or just fail forward. So many people have got detail-itis. So that's the third disease. You don't want to be that person. You actually want to fail forward. I've got to give Judy and Bob a bit of credit here. I think they've slowed back a bit, but they were really good at failing forward when they got onto this online world. Yep, we'll do it. We'll jump in here. We'll do that. They were just, I'm all in. That's what you've got to do to learn from the mistakes, to know how to do it better. So don't fuss over the detail in getting where you want to go, and try not to be a perfectionist, because no one really cares. And those that are nitpicky about it, like I've got a Facebook ad out there. I have shared this with you before. Maybe you haven't heard this, but I've actually turned it off. One of my ads that ran for quite a while, I had a typo in the very first line. I don't even know how I didn't pick it up. Sometimes when you read your own work, you just don't pick those things up. And there are a handful of people that no matter how I could help them, or how good my story is, or what the focus of it is, guess what some people focus on? I can't get past the typo. Ha ha ha, you can't be that smart, you can't spell. And it's just some people will focus on the negative, no matter how good, something could be, because they're just looking at the little detail and nitpicking. Like, you just don't want to move through life that way. Some of them I would ignore, and some of them I said, if that's what you choose to focus on, then, that's on you. I know who I am and what I've achieved and everything that I do. So if that's what you're going to focus on about me, well then, you're not part of my tribe anyway. I didn't say that, but you know where I'm coming from, guys. And also doing things, writing things, Facebook Lives, creating things, calling people, doing documents, emails, messages. Detailitis is only going to slow you down, and people don't care as much as you think they do. Okay, so the three failure diseases, we've got procrastination, excuse-itis, and detail-itis. These are the things that are going to hold most of you back. These are the things that I raise to create a higher level of awareness so you can recognize them when they're creeping in, and just remind yourself, fail forward. Fail forward. It doesn't matter. Fail forward. If it's not perfect, fail forward. You'll deal with it. You will actually move faster for failing forward and catching things and learning from them. It's like people in my branding course. They may not have figured out their brand yet, but they've just put something together and turn up. But the feedback that they get from me and what we're able to discuss, and then ask them questions about, well, what do you want your brand to be and who's your target market? We can talk through and grow. If they didn't show up on the call, if they didn't put anything forward, then they wouldn't learn from that. So you just got to get yourselves in there, guys, and do it. Those of you that are resisting Facebook Live still, just get in there and do it. Remember, the next challenge, actually, October the 11th, it starts. I'll be reopening requests to that group on the 1st of October. You can go and request access now. I'm just not going to approve you until the 1st of October. But get in on the challenge. Join us. Face your fear. Okay. Sean, guilty of all three. I think we'd all be lying, Sean, if, as somebody said, they weren't guilty of all three. I think at various times of our lives, and some more than others, like procrastinating or, excuse-itis, they creep in at different times. But I think every single one of us is guilty of it. And it's not that any of us are ever going to be perfect. Never. And we're never going to blitz it. You want failures. You want things to go wrong, because that's when you learn. It's really interesting when you see people succeed really quickly, but they actually don't know what got them there, and they can't hold it. Have you seen people come into this network marketing industry and grow really, really fast? And then they've had a really massive fall because they didn't really know what to do that got them there. So you want to learn. You want the failures. You're a better teacher that way. Like, I can't say I've had the fastest journey online or the fastest journey in network marketing, but I know from what I've learned, it makes me a much better teacher, because I can warn you of the things that I've done. I can share my experiences with you, and it actually makes you a far better person to learn from with people that you're surrounded with if you've had failures along the way. Makes you a stronger character. But I'm just going to, Casey, what's the challenge? I was just mentioning that the next video challenge is coming up on October the 11th, if you want to join us for the video challenge. So that group, Sean, can you drop the link to the video challenge? So that's 21-day online crew video challenge, but maybe Sean might be able to drop a link for us. So I'm going to leave you with this, guys. There's already a couple of links that Lynn's put down, but learn to think big, guys. Your limitations are your own, and you get stuck, we all do get stuck in this little world of things that don't really matter in the scheme of things, because we're not looking at what we can actually achieve. We're not thinking big enough. So go and get the book and read it. Okay, because if you want to be more successful, you want to learn to think in a different way. Not only, thinking big, but recognizing when you're procrastinating, recognizing when you've got excuse-itis, recognizing when you're fussing over the detail and it really doesn't matter. Thank you so much, Sean. So Sean's just put a link to the video challenge group. It's not reopening until October the 1st. So you can request, and your request will be pending. Those that are already in, you're already in. But I won't be accepting new people into the group until 1st of October. Certainly click on the link and request to join, and I'll approve you all on the 1st of October, and we start on the 11th of October. Okay? So thank you very much, Sean. Yes, Casey, learn to think. Oh, it's actually called The Magic of Thinking Big, if you want to be exact. And it's from David Schwartz. And Lynn put a link into it. So let's learn to think big and realize the sky's the limit. You can achieve anything as long as your mind allows you to go there. Our biggest failures in life, well, lessons learned, are our own limitations. And, you know, I've learned from mentors of mine when I'm focusing on the wrong thing, and they're like, look at the bigger picture, Helen. Like, don't stop here. We got to look here and get you there. And it's like, oh, I didn't looked at it that way, because we're too busy in our little boxes. We've got to get out of our boxes and think big, think big. Teresa, it's going to be 21 days again, right, Helen? It is, Teresa. I decided not to go back to 14 or advance to 30, mainly due to me trying to fit in with when I'm going overseas next. But 21 days is a nice time frame that people will stick at it and not give up. I do think 30 days makes more of an impact, but to answer your question, it will be 21 days, okay? Yes, Casey, The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz. So I'm going to leave you on that note. Now, tomorrow I will be live again 2 hours earlier than normal, because I am hosting another webinar. We swapped some webinars, so it wasn't meant to be this often, but I'll be 2 hours earlier live tomorrow. Those in my branding group, I will see you in half an hour's time. And yeah, I mentioned all the other stuff at the beginning of the video, okay? Yeah, 30 days is more impactful, Sean. So maybe I'll do that next. We shall see. All right, guys, thank you for being here with me. I hope that's thought-provoking. I hope you go and get the book and expand your mind and your world and